and gentlemen. Gives me much pleasure to be here. We started the commissioning of these various internet connectivity sites throughout Vanuatu yesterday. We went to 3 different locations starting yesterday morning, and of course it gives us much pleasure to be here. It gives me also immense pleasure to be here also because I've just discovered the school manager is a female. It's the first school I went to since yesterday where the school manager is actually female. In fact, very rarely do you find school managers, even in Fiji, where the managers are actually females. So that's obviously a testimony of the Dawara District School management and also the community in respect of you moving ahead in terms of having a very broad outlook. It also, the head of school told me this school was started back in 1883, which is of course one of the oldest schools too. And again, that is something that is to be proud of. We have continuity in the school education in this particular area. And this is more fitting as to why we've actually connected you now, the school, to internet. As I've said yesterday on a number of occasions, that as our Prime Minister has always said, that we need to empower every single Fijian irrespective of where they live. Many of the facilities that you have, that a lot of the schools take for granted, the school children in Lambasa or whether it's Suva, Lotoka, Nandi, they take internet connection for granted. The schools all have internet connection. Whereas schools such as this, in a remote location, don't have internet connection. So there's a huge gap in terms of the access to information, access to technology between those who live in the urban areas and those who live in the deep rural areas. It also means that the teachers who teach in these schools don't have the same level of connectivity with the Ministry of Education. Now with this type of connectivity, your head of school, her teaching staff can access internet, can communicate directly with the Lambasa office of the Ministry of Education, with the Suva office of communication. I remember about 2-3 years ago, we said that every school teacher must have an email account. So the minister, the permanent secretary can communicate with them directly. Now, there's no point having an email account when you don't have internet connectivity. Now, of course, the teacher over here will have, the head of school will have that level of connectivity. Secondly, as I mentioned earlier on, the students in the school will now have access to information through the internet. That is very empowering because in terms of their research, in terms of getting information, they'll be able to have the same type of connectivity that children or students in urban areas have. And for us, this is critically important. So this is why we have provided these facilities. There's over 40 sites in Vanuatu that we are connected or have already connected. And again, just by way of information, you may recall, some of you may recall, our Prime Minister commissioned the landing of the submarine cable in Sabu a few years ago. Fiji is actually the hub of the South Pacific in terms of connectivity. So all these mobile phone calls, the internet, a lot of it is linked through submarine cable. So there's a submarine cable, it's called the Southern Cross cable, that starts from Australia. It comes and lands in Fiji, in Watuanga, and then from here, from Watuanga, it goes to Hawaii and then to the west coast of North America. So other Pacific Island countries that want to connect to the Southern Cross cable, they come to Fiji to connect to that pipeline. So a few years ago, Samoa wanted to connect to the Southern Cross cable, to Watuanga. So as you know, Viti level is here, Vanuatu level is here, Samoa is up here to the northeast. So for them to bring the Southern Cross, to connect to the cable came between Vanuatu and Taveuni. So when they were bringing that in, they were funded by the World Bank. We thought, okay, we can take advantage of that. So we connected a pipe out of that to land in Vanuatu. Because we know Vanuatu for many years have not had good connection. So that cable landed in Sabu. We had borrowed from the World Bank to fund that. And because we managed the money prudently, in other words, well, efficiently, there was some leftover money, about $1.3 to $1.4 million. So we said that we'll use those funds to connect all the unconnected locations in Vanuatu. So this is part of the project. And as I said, over 40 sites have now been connected. The capacity that has also been given is also the school will now have a telephone too that they can connect to the IP system, which obviously gives the head of school and her staff the ability to, talk to other people. Now, the other aspect, of course, which is also about connectivity is Wailesi. You may have heard about Wailesi. Wailesi is a platform where government owns this company that's trying to make sure that every single Fijian has connectivity to free-to-air television. So Wailesi has already been connected to the school. It has 8 channels. You have FBC that's got 3 channels. Fiji One has got 3 channels. You have got My TV. You also then have the parliamentary channel full-time. You can see when Parliament starts next week. You can see the live proceedings, who's saying what, who's telling the truth and who's telling lies. You can watch all of that. And also when Parliament is not in session, they'll also show the old parliamentary sittings, the previous ones, so you can continuously watch that. The other channel is a religious channel called the Hope Channel, one of the church groups actually has a channel on that. And then we also now have an educational channel through the Ministry of Education. So again, it helps with the students. I'm sure the school can open up the premises if you want to come and watch rugby games when Fiji is playing. But Wailesi has also meant that if you want to get connected, you can buy satellite dishes, not very expensive, and we can connect it to individual homes. So Wailesi is everywhere now. Either you get connected through satellite, or we have what we build towers for you to get connected. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to make a long speech, but just to impress upon you that we want to ensure that you all get connected. Of course, connectivity is not just about roads. It's not only about bridges. I see a number of crossings have also been fixed up in recent times through FRA. Of course, there's a few more that needs to be done. We're continuously spending money in that respect. Some of the projects have been slowed down because of COVID-19, people not being able to work, or because government revenues got very much reduced because the borders were all shut down, so we didn't get much tourism. You would have heard about people in Subsavu. A lot of people who worked in the hotels no longer had a job for a long period of time. So government actually funded them when they were unemployed. We've spent close to $500 million in respect of assisting people. So market vendors, when they go to Subsavu, they don't have to pay any market fees. People who apply for fishing license, they don't have to pay that. We've also in Viti level, we've given $360 for those people who are unemployed, $50. Now, if we were to have those type of facilities or those types of initiatives for Vanua Level 2, if you get connected, then we can disburse those funds very quickly and easily to you. So that's part of the process that we are doing, part of the engagement, part of the connectivity that's critically important to make sure that all Fijians are actually on a level playing field. And that's our job, that's government's job. So to the students who will get connected, of course the villages within 150 meters of the school, if you come with your phone, you'll get connected. You can switch on, you can speak to people on the Viber, on the WhatsApp, you can connect yourself to the internet too. That's why we've done what we call our Wi-Fi system. So it's not just where the actual facilities, but around the school too. Last but not least, please, those students in particular, when you get connected to the internet, please use it responsibly. Don't go to sites you're not supposed to, even the adults, but use it wisely. It's a good tool, good access to information, tell you what's happening not just within Fiji, also tell you what's happening outside in the world. You can go to the government Facebook page where we have a lot of information about all the initiatives we're putting forward. Can tell you about government programs, what FRA is doing and other utility companies are doing, whether it's Water Authority Fiji. All of those information, all of that information will be made available to you. So, Vinakavakalevu for having us here today. We have, of course, a small Talanoa session after this. We can raise any issues you may want to. And we, of course, look forward to talking to all of you. Naka, thank you.